What's up, everybody? Whack4863 here, and today we are going through the Wine Cellar dungeon. I am taking a Sumerian Berserker with me with the Sword of Crom and the Godbreaker armor. I've been through this dungeon about 3 times properly, and when I say properly, I mean with no cheats activated. No God mode, no cheats, no cloak. How I would play it if I was playing it on an official server. Now, first of all, I do want to say that this is Testlive content, so it is subject to change. And there is definitely some spoilers in here because I am going through the entire dungeon. So if it's not something that you want to watch, click off the video, don't watch it, go play it yourself, either on Testlive or wait until it comes out and play it. Now, one thing I will say about this dungeon, it is absolutely massive. I am not going to show you guys every nook and cranny and chest that is in this dungeon. I could spend 3 hours running around showing you guys that. So I'm just going to give you a basic walkthrough of the main areas that you're going to want to hit when you come in here, where the bosses are, where some of the loot is, and that's it. So keep that in mind as I'm running around. You will see me pass up chests like the ones back here. And there's books littered throughout this entire place as well. I'm not going to show you all of those. I'm going to leave those things for you guys to find if that's something that you want to do. So, what you're going to run into in this dungeon, first of all, obviously you're going to run into Relic Hunters. Beyond that, you are going to run into an absolute ton of undead, and those undead will give you corruption. So I recommend bringing a Heart of a Hero, especially if you're in a group. You're going to need some hearts for everybody. They do supply a singular heart here at the beginning. You can see there's one of the seekers here, where you can pick up that Heart of a Hero. So that's a good thing, especially if you're coming through here solo or with a thrall. I don't know, this dungeon is probably on in my top 3 for hardest dungeons. It may take number 1 for hardest dungeons, and it'll depend on what changes they make to a few different things, and I'll talk about those as we come across them. But this may be the hardest one. And I just realized that I didn't bring my thrall in here in full health. This is, I've been running through this dungeon multiple times, so I'm going to heal her up real quick before we get too far into the chaos that ensues a little bit further on in the dungeon. Now, I will be pointing out some areas where mechanics don't properly work, so you got to kind of trick the whole system into doing something else, and that's actually coming up here real quick. So looks like she's healed up. We can move right along here. Now, you definitely need a torch in quite a bit of this dungeon, so I've actually resorted to just using the one-handed for the most part. And I'll show you some of the loot that these guys drop as well. But here's the first section where the mechanic doesn't work properly. You can see my thrall standing at the far edge of the bridge there. And as you move along here, it takes way too long for them to spawn in. So I run all the way to this side. And you can see still not spawned in, still not spawned in. And we'll go ahead and see if we can get some. There she goes. Okay, so, but if you run just up to where those enemies come out of the ground, she is not going to, your thrall's not going to make it over to you. So, and this is kind of a weird little mechanic where they fall into the ground and then come back out, but not a huge deal. Just have to kind of watch them and wait for them to come back out. There's also an issue where the thrall will aggro on something that is still in the ground, that hasn't been summoned out of the ground. So that's something to keep in mind and watch for as you're going through this dungeon. Now, once you get kind of this section here with all the buildings, this is where you can get just lost looking for loot. There is So many chests down here, guys, and it's a myriad of loot. It's actually pretty cool because I've found everything from Defari loot to what looks like maybe some Nordheim loot and different things. I did find some loot that had corrupted powder in it, and Defari armor. So it seems like maybe they're hinting to an old civilization where you know, all these people, all these different races were kind of held together in the wine cellar, if that makes sense. So, you know, there's a lot of kind of slavery lore in the Conan Exiles world. So maybe this was kind of like barracks for all the different races. And here we have a boss that's aggroed on us from way far away. So we'll kill him, and then I'll show you where he actually stands and waits for you. But I think the lore is kind of there where this was some sort of barracks or some sort of holding place for all the different people that were in the exiled lands. So loot, we got Kari Steel and Fragments of Power. Now that is all I've gotten off the mini bosses. This is where he spawns. He kind of hangs out right here. So we want to come across this bridge here to continue on through the dungeon. But, like I said, tons of loot everywhere. You get everything from steel to gold to corrupted powder to, I mean, you kind of name it. Gray lotus seeds and flowers are down here. Just an absolute ton of stuff. So really cool. You can see that she's bleeding. I think I add a bit of that bleed, guys. I know this this undead serpent man will add bleed, but I think I add some of that bleed by hitting her with my own axe. So there's that. I don't know, you'll have to watch out for that. But let's continue on here, and I am going to show you some pretty cool loot in here as well. I know some of you guys may have seen in another video the new Kari water skin. So I'm going to show you how to get that here in this video as well. And yeah, we'll just progress on here. I really, honestly, I kind of like the fact, especially with the amount of undead that's in this dungeon, I'm kind of happy that they added the stagger to the skeletons, honestly. This guy down here, this is the one that you want to kill for the water skin. I don't know what she's killing up there, but we're going to continue on. My suggestion is to clear out all these littler shaleback, the undead shaleback or dead shaleback, whatever you want to call them. Undead kappa. So you're going to want to kill all of these guys first because you really don't want them joining in the fight. What I do, because I've been having troubles with my thrall, making it all the way down to this point to kill this guy, I've just been hitting him and bringing him up. And actually, you can see my thrall followed me that time, which is the first time out of the 3 or 4 times I've been down here that she's made it that far. So I bring him up here to kill him. He is a pretty difficult little guy, especially if you're trying to do it yourself. Your thrall's definitely going to help you get through this this part of the battle. So there's that. You guys know me. I kind of always run with a thrall. I think it's important as a solo player that you have a thrall with you, have that ability to kind of get around some of the attacks. And yeah, I don't know. And there you go, guys. You see I get the water skin, and the nice thing about that water skin is it gives you 17 drinks. The deep drink gives you 13 drinks, and the standard water skin only gives you 10. So that gives you an idea of how much more water or drinks or uses, however you want to put it, you're getting out of that one guy there. So I'm also going to show you guys the spider and where the spider is in the dungeon, so you guys don't you won't miss anything major, I don't think, in this dungeon. I'm pretty sure that I've found everything. If you guys know of something that I missed, go ahead and leave that in the comment section below. Probably do another guide to this dungeon once it comes out of Testlive, just to go over any of the changes that may have been made. Just so you know, these bosses hit like an absolute Mack truck. I'm not sure, I don't remember if this guy hits me or not, but there is one or two of them that hit me in this guide that you'll get to see how much damage they actually do. Obviously, I'm no help to my thrall here, but a couple Kari steel and a fragment of power. I know in the live stream they mentioned that there was going to be special drops from them, but there hasn't been for me yet. Now there is a random amount of chests that spawn at this altar here, and you can get multiple fragments of power from there, so really nice place to come. I've gotten up to 3 fragments of power right there, so hopefully you guys are able to follow along with this guide and see where I'm going exactly. And I do get turned around a little bit from time to time, but here's the next boss. They're kind of all really close together once you figure out how to get from one to the next. So that's the other thing, is you really got to pay attention to not only your healing but your thrall's healing throughout this entire dungeon, because all of a sudden you can get overwhelmed and ended by the bosses, because if you run in with part health, you could end up dying from a single hit. And this is super annoying because I keep trying to heal her up and skeletons keep on showing up to get in the fight. But see if we get her healed up, myself healed up, and then we will move on to the next section of the dungeon, which is actually pretty close. Hit that. Alright, so if you leave from here, you want to go, I always kind of forget this, but if you kind of follow the red markings on the wall, it kind of tells you where to go as well. So it feels a little odd, but you actually backtrack, or it feels like you're backtracking a little to get to this this bridge here. So cross the bridge, more skeletons to deal with, and you can see my corruption going up. I've tried pretty hard to not continue to get hit by the ones that give corruption, but it's just gonna happen. And I'll show you where I use the heart to kind of go into the final battle, but you could do it even a little bit later than I do. There's a spot where you could do it. So now here's another boss here on the right. He's kind of hard to see if you're not paying attention, and look at how much health he just took with that single swing. That's almost half of my health with a single swing from his sword, and there you go, almost dead, guys. So you definitely want to be super careful coming in here and fighting these guys. It's not something that you're just gonna take tons of hits from. And I'm wearing, if you're wondering, I'm wearing the God's Eye, the Commander Helm, the Gauntlets of the Brute, Veneer or Vermin Pants, and Boots. So it's all legendary stuff from the Unnamed City. It's what I normally use in my official server to kind of do a lot of my killing, especially like in the Unnamed City. If you guys watch my videos, you know that's kind of my setup for the most part. So again, let's get healed up here. This is a major thing that you're going to have to do on a regular basis. You need those healing arrows to heal your thrall up, and you're going to want them. So I haven't tested whether my thrall could make it all the way through the dungeon without me healing it up at all or not. The Sumerian Berserker only has about 5,800 hit points. The reason why I like the Sumerian Berserker is because I feel like it's more active than a lot of the other thralls are, especially the thralls with higher hit points. So that's why I choose it, even though it's kind of a trade-off for hit points. This is where you find the demon spider guys. obviously it's gonna drop a skeleton key, and there is a legendary loot chest down here that you can get into. So let's kill this thing. And again, more corruption from this, so you'll definitely want that heart. And this is a way that I do this fight all the time, guys. If you're wondering how to fight this thing and you've got a thrall, this is kind of how I do it. I let the thrall take aggro, I go to the back side and just kind of give it hits, you know, just kind of the way I've always done it. And really not a hard fight, especially if you got a thrall rocking that sort of crom. Let's go ahead and take the key and just see what we get. I doubt the loot table for that chest is going to be any different than any chest anywhere else in the exiled lands, but we'll look anyway. And it is this one here. Let's do a little inventory management and we'll see what we come up with here. So the Bane of Kostrakal was what we pulled out of there, so yay, fun. That can go on the wall somewhere. All right, so this is where I decide that I'm gonna heal up first of all, and I'm also gonna eat the heart of the hero here and just remove the corruption. Just get all the way healed up because we are actually right around the corner from the final boss. Now, if you do not want to watch the final boss fight, I totally understand. This is your pre-warning to click off the video and don't watch any further. But for those of you that have stayed around, we're just going to come right up here. If you go off to the left there, there's a really cool view of the entire dungeon, so I suggest checking that out. But we are at the gate. I'm like, oh man, I just cured my corruption. I really don't want to get hit by that guy, and then I take a couple hits by him, but not enough corruption to worry about. Now, I have been kind of all around this section as well, looking for chests and different things. I didn't see anything super special around the different stairs that go down around here, but that may change. Again, this is Testlive stuff, so I just felt like, you know, there's so much loot scattered all throughout this dungeon. Then you get to kind of the final area, the arena. You can see I died in here a little bit earlier on, but you get to the final arena or area where the boss is, and there's like no chests. It's like everything there's been cleared out. There's nothing to find. So found that a little bit odd. Now, I'm not sure whether this animation is buggy or if you actually have to go into the circle that's in front of you there to get this guy to actually come in. So I stand here for a second, and then as soon as I go in the circle, there he is. So my guess is that if you don't go in that circle, he's not showing up if you're trying to give him a little bit of space. And this has been an issue that I've seen multiple times in this dungeon, where the thrall will attack something that's underground. Much like if you're at the Shattered Springs trying to kill stuff, and you have your thrall and it's kind of going after the rock nose that are underground. So there is enough room in here to teleport your thrall around, and you can see it's decided that it wants to be aggro on something else there, so I'm going to teleport it back to me again. And I'm really just trying to get it to switch aggro to what I want it to kill. Now she's totally bugged out. She's got to think about what she wants to do, so I'll let her stand there and do that for a moment. And she wants to go back to the exact same one over there. So that's kind of, for this section, that's really not fun. Anywhere else in the dungeon, it's really not a big deal because you could probably kill whatever is coming out. This guy, I think it's much more it's way more necessary that you have a thrall helping you kill this guy over anywhere else in this dungeon. So now I did do some tests with the shield against this guy. You can certainly use a shield, and when he does this, the last thing you want to do is run up to him like that, because you can see I start getting juggled by his other attack. That's my bad, and it is not fun, because every time you get juggled, you're taking quite a bit of damage, and yeah. So when he teleports away, let him teleport away. Don't run up to him. Just hold back. Now you guys saw the different patterns coming out of the floor there. So you want to stay away from the highlighted areas. And every time he kind of bashes the ground or you hear that sound, it's going to change to a different pattern. Now here's the next little tidbit for you. He summons in skeletons. Okay, so the best way that I've found to kind of deal with the skeletons here is actually not to pay any attention to them. Go ahead and go right back into the battle here, and just let them take hits as you're hitting him, because you can waste all your time fighting these skeletons, but I'll show you what happens when he dies. So he's summoned more in. He's going to do his attack pattern here. Want to stay away from that. And she's going to kill him probably before I even get back up there. There we go. She kills him, I kill him, whatever, and you can see all the skeletons die. So that's why I say don't pay him any mind. Pay attention to him. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Like I said, if things change, I will definitely post another one, or if I find more. Once it becomes live, I'll post a official guide, but this is the Testlive guide. I'm out. Peace.